How's it going? This is the Black. This is the Black Apino. I am the Apple guy, and I'm gonna talk to you today. As you can see from the screen recording, the program I'm using is known as Reflector. It basically uses AirPlay in order for you to basically mirror your phone to your Apple device. You can do this with Windows, I believe, but since I have Apple and everything I have is Apple, it's just a lot easier for me to do that. So, I just want to welcome everybody to Happy 2018. Happy New Year's. I hope this year brings you as much fun and joy and entertainment and adventure as last year, as you did last year. And basically, what I'm here to talk about is, as you can see, the iPhone 10. Now, like many of us, if you are transitioning from an iPhone 7 to a newer Apple device, namely the iPhone 10, then, or if you're looking in the market to get an iPhone 10, you're not exactly sure why you should get one, or is it actually worth it, or if you're assuming that it looks smaller than an 8 Plus, so you want to get a Plus model, I can tell you right now, it looks small, but that is because if you notice, the 10, it doesn't have a physical home button. Therefore, the screen can be much larger. If you notice on every other itinerary of the phone, the screen stops where the dock is at, and then you have a physical home button, and then the rest of the phone. So if you were to line this up with an 8 Plus or 7 Plus, yes, the body may look smaller, but the screen is much bigger. This is a 5.8 inch screen. It's all screen. There's no home button, no physical button whatsoever. It's just the screen, and you've got the dock on the bottom. Now, basically what I'm going to talk about today is just some basic settings and some quick tutorials on how to make the transition from an older iPhone to your iPhone 10. The first thing I'm going to start off with is iCloud. I know I get a lot of slack for this from people, especially where I work at, where people are like, well, I don't trust the cloud because it's not secure and it's not this. Well, then why have an iPhone? Because one of the main staples of having an iPhone is because of iCloud. So you're going to get iCloud with it, whether you like it or not. Whether you use it or not, that's up to you. I'm going to give you some reasons as to why I think you should use it. I have another video on my channel that kind of shortly goes through it, but I'm going to actually kind of explain why you should use it and how it benefits you. Um, okay, so basically, say you decide you want to go to your local Apple store and you want to buy an iPhone 10. I have the 64 gig version, and to prove, go to Settings. I'm going to go to General, About. As you can see, capacity 64, available 46. Basically, what I did was my dad got this for me for Christmas, and since I already had it backed up, I basically just backed up my phone. Everything I had backed up from my 7, I had backed up into the iCloud. And I'll get into that after, this short explanation. So everything that I needed was already backed up into my cloud, so I didn't have to physically connect it to my computer, and then having to open up iTunes, and then having to go through all of that. Everything I had was basically ran through iCloud. And here's the reason why you should have it enabled. Okay, so you go to your local Apple store, you want to get the 10. You've been wanting to get it ever since it came out, but you couldn't because they were sold out, or they were low on stock and they didn't have the one that you wanted. Again, they are expensive. I'm not going to lie to you. This is $1,000 phone, and it's a 64 gig. The 250 something is 1,200. It's about the price of a Surface Pro tablet. So again, say you may not want that. Say you only want the 64 gig, and you want to spend $1,000 for it. Okay, now you got the phone. Now, the easy solution would be to sit there, let them do it, back it up, and then you restore it from iCloud from there. I can tell you why it's easy to go home and do it. One, it depends on if you ever use iCloud. If you've never used iCloud, it depends on how much stuff you have on your phone. It could take you, say, 20 or 30 minutes to back up the phone. Once you've got the phone backed up, then now you're going to have to set up your iPhone X and then restore from that phone that you had back. You restore from your iPhone 7 back up in the cloud to your phone. Well, now you've been sitting in that store for 20 minutes. Now you're going to have to sit there for another almost an hour. Do you really want to sit in the store that long to back up your phone when you can easily do it at home and not have to worry about, well, I'm going to lose everything that I have on my phone? No, you will not lose anything that you have on your phone. what you're doing is you're basically enabling iCloud to back up your phone so that you do not need to physically connect it to your computer and run the backup that way, and then unplug your iPhone 7, plug in your iPhone 10, and then go through the same steps that you were just done with your iPhone 7. Here's how you can know if you have it enabled or not enabled. Again, you're going to go into your settings, where it's going to have your name under the search set, under the spotlight. Click on that. You're going to go to your iCloud. Now keep in mind, if you already have an iCloud account, which you should if you have iTunes, everything that you have under that iTunes name that you use is going to be associated with your account. So as you can see, I have my iPhone X, my Apple Watch, my iPad, and my iMac. These are all associated with my Apple ID. No one else has that but me. Every time you get a new Apple device, you remove the old one after you've made sure everything is backed up. Once you remove that, it removes everything that you had off that iTunes or off of that. It's gone. All the backups you have to delete. Once that's backed up, and once you've backed up your previous device, put it on your new one, delete the old one, and then you can sell it. That way someone can't get whatever you got, and then like, well, wait a minute, why do I have your stuff? You want to make sure that you've got everything basically off of that old device and on your new device. That way it transitions a lot easier, and you can just basically just reset your old Apple phone to a factory default settings. So basically what we're going to do is you're going to go in your iCloud, and then generally right here is where you will find out if you have it enabled or not. If you don't, it'll say iCloud backup is off. You want to make sure that it's on. Click on, and if it says backup now, and if it tells you, if you don't have it back, if you never had it on, basically what it's going to tell you, it won't tell you anything down on the bottom under the backup now. It'll just say backup now. The last time backed up was never. So you back it up. As you can see, my last backup was at 2:52 this morning. Back that up. Once that's done, then you go up and you go into your new phone. Again, you're going to do the same settings, just like this. And then what you're going to do is you're going to want to restore from your older previous Apple device. You can do that one of two ways. You can do that from iTunes, or when you go through the setup on your iPhone X or any other Apple device, it's going to ask you to restore from iCloud. You say yes, and then it's going to give you a list of whatever you backed up as your most recent backup. If you've never done it, then it's basically going to be the first one that says like 9:11 p.m. was your first iCloud backup. You use that and it restores your phone. And then basically that's it. Now keep in mind with iCloud you only get 5 gigs of total storage. So by that what I mean is that every device that you have that's connected to iTunes other than your iMac, if you have like an Apple device, whether you have a laptop, an iMac or Mac Pro, that's done by TimeCloud. That's something separate from iCloud. That's going to be backed up on something separate. I can have a video on that that I'll probably be making eventually, so I can kind of explain the difference between the two, but there's something completely different. When you have iCloud, it's basically backing up everything that you have that's on your Apple device. As you can see, as I said before, your iPhone, your Apple Watch, and your iPad. Those will all be backed up onto your iCloud. Now keep in mind that you are sharing 5 gigs of storage total for whatever Apple devices you have. I'm not talking about your computers or any MacBooks or anything. I'm talking about just your Apple devices like your iPhone, your iPad, or your Apple Watch. You're using all that 5 gigs of storage for all that. So say you've got a ton of apps and everything on your iPhone and not a lot on your iPad. Basically what's going to happen is that when you go into your iCloud, where it says storage, as you can see up at the top, it's going to tell you whatever amount of gigs of 5 gigs is used. If you're running, let's say 4.5 gigs of space and you've only got 5 gigs of space left, that means if you add more stuff to your iPad and it backs it up and say whatever you've got on your iPad is about 8 or 9 gigs of apps, well, I can tell you right now, it's not going to be able to back it up. It's going to tell you to either change your Apple storage or to delete some of those apps. The easiest solution most people would probably do would be to delete those apps. Say there's an app that you like and you want to keep it, but you don't want to get rid of it. Now you got to decide, well, what am I going to get rid of? Well, you really don't have to get rid of anything. The simple solution is to just manage the storage and get larger storage. As you can see, I've got 50 gigs of storage. So basically what I would do is I'd go to manage storage. This is what you would have to do. As it loads up, where it says iCloud, it'll say change storage plan. you basically would click on that, and as you can see, it shows you what you can basically get for a certain amount of money. As you can see, I'm paying $1 a month for 50 gigs. If you need more than that, then you can do 200 gigs at $2.99 a month. As you can see, it says on the bottom, can be shared with your family. Basically, what that means is everybody can share their Apple devices on one plan, whether it's 200 or 2 gigs. You just pay more depending on how much Apple devices you have connected to it. Generally, I don't really see too many people going into 2 terabyte unless you've got like a unless you've got like a slew of photos and you like using your phone just to basically just take photos. But say you've got you just get an iPhone X, your mother gets an 8, your daughter and your son, they both get 10s. Well, that's 4 Apple devices. I can tell you right now, 5 gigs is going to be enough. 50 gigs might be enough, but it's only per person. So one person pays $50 for theirs, another one for theirs, another one for theirs. That's nice and dandy if you want to do it that way. But if you have a family, honestly, it's just cheaper just to basically just do the $3 a month, and then everybody can share. And then basically you can all just kind of look and see what everyone's been downloading and whatnot. Um, Another thing is that you don't have to use a credit card for using iCloud storage. Again, you don't have to use a credit card for it. You have to use a credit card when you initially set up iTunes, but you don't have to use a credit card for buying in-app purchases or any subscriptions or anything from iTunes. All you need is iTunes cards, and by that I mean like if you were to go to like Best Buy or Walmart or Costco's or whatever, and you buy like $100 iTunes card, you can run everything from that. And basically what I mean by that is that, as you can see from my iCloud, again, I don't use my credit card for nothing. I have what is known as iTunes. As you can see from this is what is known as a iTunes wallet. Basically, when you go into iTunes, you can actually create a pass, and it basically will show you what you have as your current balance on your iTunes. So say you bought a $15 iTunes card, and you add it to your iCloud account or your iTunes balance. Basically, what you do is, as you can see, my last update was 54 minutes ago. If I wanted to see what my current amount was, I would basically just turn off the automatic updates, give it a few seconds, turn it back on, and then at least on the 8 and the 7, it'll automatically kind of load it. But basically, it'll basically give you what your current balance is. As you can see, my current balance is that. And I use this for all my subscription-based anything that I use. And if you're not exactly sure what's running a subscription and what isn't, I would suggest getting this app right here known as Bobby. It's a good subscription plan. Basically allows you to enter in your information, whatever you have the subscription-wise, and it basically tells you what you're paying for your subscription-wise, how many days, and what it is that you're basically paying for. So as you can see, I got my Xbox Live coming up. That lets me know that I have I have $10 coming out of my bank account in 3 days for the Xbox Live. I have Evernote. It's an in-app purchase that I did a couple months ago. It's a monthly fee. I pay $4 a month for that. Macworld. It's a magazine on iTunes. I pay subscription base for that. It's $1.99 a month. iTunes Match, $24. I take that out of my iTunes account. Now again, depending on whatever subscription you're taking or whatever you're using, you want to make sure you have enough money in your account to cover whatever the subscription base that you're paying for is. If you don't have the enough amount, what it'll do is it will take it out of whatever your balance is, and then basically what will happen is that, say I have subscriptions that are going to cost me, my total subscriptions for this month will be about $30. Well, I've only got $28.02. Depending on the date on when my most recent one will be charged, I either have one or two options. Either just let it take it all and take it incrementally. So say I have one that's going to be tomorrow, I owe $4 on one. It takes $4 out of that, and then the last ones are $26. Well, you figure 28 minus 4 leaves me 24. Well, now I've got $26 worth of subscriptions that are going to need to come out of this. Well, basically what it's going to do is that it's going to take the remaining balance of this, which would be 26 or 24, and then it's going to take $2 out of my credit card or debit card because I don't have enough on my iTunes account to cover the balance for my total subscription. So this is why it's always good to know the balance of whatever you have on your iTunes. That way you can make sure you can cover whatever subscriptions you have. Granted, I have a lot of subscriptions, hence why I usually, buy like a $25 or $50 iTunes account. Plus with this app, Bobby, it kind of basically just lets me know what I'm going to be paying for subscription base wise, and what is going to be coming up, and what's going to be taken out of my bank account, depending on what you're able to add onto it. So it's a good app. I would highly suggest using it. That way you don't have to worry about, well, I thought I had this amount of money. I guess I didn't. Well, I didn't know. Well, this app kind of helps you with that. It gives you reminders as to, hey, you've got a subscription that's coming up in 3 days. All you got to do is just basically check that. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I don't have I don't have that much in my iTunes account. Let me run over to Best Buy, buy a $20 one, slap it on there, boom, you're done. And again, that is one of the reasons why when you use iTunes, you want to use iTunes cards instead of using your debit card. So, but that's pretty much, again, that's one of the reasons why you want to use iCloud. Is it makes backing up your phone, restoring your phone easier. You don't have to worry about waiting in the store for like a good hour or so, just waiting for your phone to restore and then complaining about why it's so slow. And the reason why it's so slow is because everyone else is doing the same thing you're doing. Everyone else is backing up their phones and restoring it at the same time you are. So everyone's using the same broadband. So it's just congestion crazy. So again, if you're gonna buy one of these and you go to the Apple Store and buy one, or Best Buy and buy one, if you buy it from them, just take it home and then do it at home. It's a lot easier that way. You don't have to worry about sitting around and having other people looking at what you're doing and then having to sit there and wait an hour or so, when you can just do it at home, drink a cup of coffee or whatever, and then just let it do its thing. Now with that, we'll go on to the iPhone 10 and some of the features and how it differs from, say, the 8 and the 7 and everything else. As you all know, the 10 does not have a physical home button. So if you're used to wanting to get to certain apps, if you want to swipe apps, the app switcher is what it's called, with no physical button, you want to know how you want to do that. Well, I'm going to actually show you how to do that. It's really pretty simple. You basically would swipe on the bottom, swipe up, and then again, that's it. As you can see, you just hold and swipe up, and that's it. Then you can swipe through your apps. Now, with previous versions of iOS, you could easily just swipe up, as you can see, swipe up and delete an app. But unfortunately, you can't do that with this, because when you sweep it up, it just basically just closes out the app, but it's still, again, in your app switcher. So the easiest way to remove an app, basically I call it to kill the app, is you basically just tap. As you can see, you got the little red arrows. Basically, you have two ways of doing this to basically killing the app. You can tap on the red little square. That's it. Or you can still do basically what you've been always able to do with iOS 10 and what you can do on the 7 and 8, all the other ones. You basically just swipe up. That's all you gotta do. Swipe up. And that automatically kills whatever apps you have in the background. As you can see, I swipe up. There's no apps. There's no apps for me to swap in an app switcher, and that's all you gotta do. It's still the same way as if you had iOS 10. The only difference is that there's no physical button to double tap to bring it to the app switcher. You just basically swipe up. And now, Control Center, you used to be able to access that from the bottom. Swipe up. Well, you can't do that anymore. If you are familiar with iOS 10, if you had with the 8 and the 7, you had to swipe up. With the iPhone 10, there's no physical button for you to do that, and so they basically can change the way how you get to the control center. So where you would have like your cellular signal, the Wi-Fi, and your battery, what you basically do is you take that corner, swipe down. That's all you need to do. And when you're done, that little white bar there, swipe up. It's that simple. Right hand corner, swipe down, swipe up. To access your widget menu, it's still the same as iOS 10. There's not really much changed. It's just the gestures and how you have to do it. It's all mental wise. It's you're so used to using a home button to use certain functions. Without that, you're thinking, I don't know how to do this. I can't do this. It's gonna be. I'll have a hard time learning it. Honestly, it only takes you maybe 10 to 15 minutes to actually learn most of the stuff that I'm showing you. So to access your widget menu, basically it's the same. You just all the way over, and that's it. Edit. Still do the same things. You can You can remove widgets or add widgets, whichever you want to do. Still the same. And then again, to access your notifications, again, they'll tell you to swipe from the corner down. You can. There's also another way. You're still able to swipe from the middle down. So whether you do it from the left side or from the middle, it's still the same. The only difference now is that when you swipe down, as you can see that I've done, you now have only the flashlight and the camera functions. So basically, if you wanted to access the camera portions, unlike with previous versions of with iPhones, where you just basically swipe down and you just tap on it, or swipe to the left, it would bring you to the camera. With this one, you basically just tap. Still learning it myself. There's a learning curve to all this. That's all you gotta do. And then there's a little white bar on the bottom. You just swipe up, and it brings you right back to the notification screen. Again, tap. And that's all. Little white bar on the bottom. Swipe up, and that's it. Swipe up, and you're done. Another feature, one of the reasons why I bought one was because of the facial ID. I think that's a unique feature. Obviously, without the home button, where you're used to using the thumb to basically unlock your phone. Although I do still see people using passcode. I think that's kind of just dumb, because if you forget the passcode, then you can't unlock your phone. Because if you don't have the thumb fingerprint scanners you don't have those activated, then your phone is pretty much just, you have to get a new lock code and then do it that way. So basically, with the facial ID, if you've never seen it used before other than in demos, basically, as you can see, home button, it's locked. Now to lock. To unlock it, basically, home button again, look at it. As you can see, the lock unlocked itself. Swipe up to open. That's all you have to do. It's that simple. The home button is still the same. Only difference now is that with the home button, it gives you a lot more options. You basically would double click this. If you're familiar with the Hey Siri functions, basically what you would do is it gives you two options. Either using these home button, you basically double click that twice, and then it would bring you to the Hey Siri function, or you can enable it and then just basically use it as I usually, but most people probably would use it, just basically saying, Hey Siri. As you can see, that easy. And all the other functions are still the same. You still have your silent button right there. Your mute, unmute. Volume buttons are still the same. You still got your lightning thunderbolt. Excuse me. And that's pretty much majority of some of the cool features. Another good feature is the camera. As everyone knows, the camera is a very good camera. It takes some darn good pictures, although I have yet to use it in any aspect as far as taking any type of decent pictures. But it does have some cool features. As you notice, when you swap the photos, it's going to give you a 1 time, 2 times. It's basically kind of like a zoom. And then if you swipe up, it gives you the original. And then you can again kind of swipe through to go through the various screen colors to basically enhance your picture. And then when you're done, you just take the picture. And that's all you have to do. Swipe up when you're done, and then it goes back to it. Now another feature is that I noticed is portrait mode. Basically, what portrait mode is it kind of I want to think of it as more like a selfie. Basically, as you can see, portrait, natural light. It kind of highlights your face, and the background is just basically blurred out. So it's kind of like a selfie image. Basically, you want to take a picture of yourself, but like kind of like a portrait, like it's obviously portrait mode, but kind of more like a selfie. And then you can actually change the different light, the effects for this function. As you can see, natural light, you touch it, now you go to studio light, as you can see, it highlights it, gives it a little bit more of a glare. Then you've got contour, darkens it just a little. Then you've got stage, which basically just focuses more on your face and nothing else in the background. And then you've got mono, which is basically the same thing, just without color. And then whichever one you wish to choose, you basically would use that. And then you basically would just hit the picture button on that. As far as video-wise, video from this is really, I've done it a few times with the 7, although I never really used certain settings. I usually do mine in 1080 at 60 frames. It actually looks a lot smoother if you do your videos in 4K at 60 frames a second. It makes the videos look a lot smoother. I'll make a video basically kind of showing the differences between shooting something at 30 frames a second on 4K versus shooting something at 60 frames per second on 4K. But keep in mind, anytime you shoot anything in 4K, it's a much larger file. So it does take up a lot of space in your photos if you plan on doing that. So and with that in mind, I'm going to go through some accessories that I bought that I think you should get for your iPhone 10. One of them obviously is going to be a type of screen protector. As you can see, there's a ton of them out there. I will have one that I like in particular, link in the description below. But as you can see, I do have a screen protector on this. Can't see it, maybe you might be able to, but as you notice, there's a little raise. There's a little bit of a raise in the top from where the screen and this, it's a raise. This is a ZAG Sapphire screen protector. It's one of the strongest screen protectors as far as what I've heard. It's extremely strong. It takes a lot of beatings. You can scratch it. You can stick it in your pocket, and it won't scratch the screen up. You don't have to worry about getting any gouges in it whatsoever. You can, if you drop it down on the front, it won't crack your screen. Although I wouldn't recommend trying it, but accidents do happen. But again, a good screen protector to get would be a ZAG. There's a few other ones out there. There's Spigen, who makes a good one. I'll have a link for their description in the bottom as well. But I highly recommend the Zags. I think it's a much better brand. And then as far as case, again, I'm always go with the OtterBoxes because I think the OtterBoxes make some of the best iPhone cases on the planet. Of course, you've got LifeProof, which they also make some, and you've got like Spec and a few other ones. But as far as total protection wise, I've always gone with OtterBoxes. I've done it for my 6, I've done it for my 6 Plus, my 7, and now I have it for the 8. It works the same way as all the other OtterBoxes. The only difference is that because it's a full gestured screen and it's basically a Super Retina, or as they call it, an OLED screen. That's what Apple calls it. There's no plastic cover between the inside of the case and this. Basically, if you've ever owned an OtterBox and say you've got like the 5, the 6, and 7, there's always a plastic between the screen and your finger. Well, you can't really do that with the 10 because it's really designed for you to actually access the screen without any interference. You can do it with the screen protector, yes, because the screen protector is still thin and you can still do that. But with the plastic on top of the plastic screen protector on top of the screen, it makes it very difficult for you to navigate through anything. So I highly recommend the Mophie. I'll probably include another link in there. I'll probably include one for LifeProof. They make some good ones. They're expensive, just like the Mophies, or not the Mophie, the OtterBoxes, but they are good cases. And then now we're going to go on to the wireless charging base. I bought a Mophie. Obviously, as you can tell, I love Mophie. I have a Mophie battery case, 2 of them, and it didn't make sense to not buy another Mophie since Mophies never let me down. I bought this. I was originally going to buy this at the Apple Store, but they did not have any. They had a Belkin, which is a white one. That's a little bit bigger than the one bigger than this. And I have a link in the description for both, so that you can decide which one you want. This is $59.99. I bought this at the same place that I bought my screen protector at. This is basically what it looks like, as you can see. Now, unfortunately, it does need to be plugged into a power socket because it will not be able to charge your phone off of the USB. I'm assuming the USB doesn't give enough power for it to charge your phone. But that is the wireless charging pad that I have for the Mophie. Again, it's $59.99. I will have a link for both this and for the Belkin in the link in my description and below. Now, a lot of people will probably want to know, well, why do I want to use that when I can use the cord and plug it into my computer and plug it in, charge it that way? Yes, you can do that, but then again, it defeats the purpose of having an iPhone 8 or 10, because one of the reasons to have one of those, and one of the marketing stable, was that you can wirelessly charge that. So it makes no sense to plug it into a computer and charge it when you can do it wirelessly, and when you need it, just get it. And it's just it's just a pain in the butt to do it that way, because basically, okay, 10, stick it on here. It's charged, as you can see the little green button up in the top. The battery's being charged. Now, say I want to look at something really quick, then it's just a simple grabbing it. As you can see, it no longer charges. I can do what I need to get done, and then when I'm done, put it back down, and then none the wiser. Now, say you're one of those people that wants to die hard, plug it into your computer. Well, one, now you're going to have to use the cord, plug it in, use a USB spot, and then say you will need to grab your phone really quick, then you're going to have to unplug it really quick, and then you're done. Why would you want to plug it in? Everything that you need to do is on the phone itself. Everything from the apps to everything else is going to be done wirelessly from the phone. So really, there's no really real reason to plug in your iPhone unless you do not have a spot to plug in the wireless charger. Which 9 times out of 10, you're probably going to have a spot to plug it in, because it doesn't have to be near your computer. You can literally plug it in your kitchen, in the den, bedroom, wherever. It's just easy access. All you gotta do again is just pick it up, put it down, and it charges. And the unique thing about the Mophie is that, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but there's a little indicator light showing that it's charging, which I think is actually kind of cool, because that way you'll know it's charged. Although you can basically look at the phone itself and look to see when it's charged, but it's just one of those added bonuses to it. So again, I will have a link in the description down for both the Mophie and the Belkin, as well as OtterBox and LifeProof, because I think they both are good cases. They're a little expensive, but then again, if you're buying a phone that's $1,000, I don't really think you're going to haggle over price over a case. And again, definitely get a good screen protector for the phone, because again, if you're going to be sticking it in your purse or in your pocket, if you wear jeans, you definitely don't want to do it without a screen protector, because once you put a gouge in the screen, it just makes it pretty much just a useless phone, because you can't really do much with a gouge in it. This is not really going to look as good. So again, thanks for watching my video. I have a few more tutorials on my channel. If you want to take a look at some of those, I have a very good tutorial on how to remove photos from iOS 11 from your phone to iCloud or to an external device. If you have a lot of photos, you take a lot of photos, and you want to learn how to remove them from your phone without deleting them, I highly suggest watching that video. And again, this is Black Apino. I am the Apple Guy. Leave a comment, like, and subscribe to my channel. Keep your notifications on, because I'm going to be putting out more content now that the 10 is out. And